Namaste. This class is about Vishuddha, the throat chakra. So we've been looking at the energy centers and we've got to this one here. Vishuddha is represented by a blue lotus blossom and it's got a white circle in it representing space or ether. So it's connected with that element. And this is all about good communication, finding your voice, having the courage to say what you really believe, good ability to listen to others. And sometimes we say things that we don't really mean, or we don't speak up when we really think that we want to say something, so we don't say things that we should. And this can be because of things like peer pressure, influences around us, a little hesitancy, lacking self-confidence, all sorts of reasons. So stimulating this throat area, the area just behind the pit of the throat, that dimple in the throat, can really help you to find your courage to speak your truth. So sitting upright, a nice tall spine. You might want a couple of blocks for this practice. You can sit on them now or have them ready for later on. And I want you to come to center yourself, closing the eyes if that's okay for you, and focusing on the breath. Breathing in and out, nice deep, slow breath. And as you breathe in and out through your nose, if that's okay, I'd like you to try and find Ujjayi Pranayama. Ujjayi Pranayama meaning victorious breath, conquering breath. So it's taking control of the breath. And it's that one where we constrict the throat slightly. And you'll hear and feel an aspirated sound on the back of the throat. There are different ways of finding this if you're not familiar with it. So one way is to imagine that you wanted to fog up a mirror. And then halfway through that whispered ah breath, which you might already feel the constriction in the throat, you close the mouth and it becomes a whispered So again, you might feel the constriction. So giving that a go, nice inhale in through the nose, ah breath out, closing the mouth halfway through to change that ah to a whispered Giving that a go a couple of times. And then breathing in and out, seeing if you can sense the breath hitting the back of your throat. So for some people, they imagine that this pit of the throat is a hole you could breathe directly into. Imagine the cool air hitting the back of the throat, and they find the Ujjayi breath that way. People liken it to the sound of the sea lapping on the shore, or the rustle of leaves in a light breeze. You can even think of it as Darth Vader, a light Darth Vader breath, so it's really audible to you. And just like an egg timer where the glass constricts, thins in the middle, and the sand goes through it slower, the breath goes through the throat more slowly. And we feel this control over the breath. It can be very soothing, very mindful to breathe like this. And it also helps stimulate the throat chakra. And you are welcome to use Ujjayi breathing as much as you like in this practice. So as we sit here with our Ujjayi breath, I want you to start making some movements with the head to loosen up the neck and shoulders. So we're going to inhale here with the nose facing the front. And as you exhale, turning the nose to look over your right shoulder. Inhale, coming back to the front. and turning the nose to look over your left shoulder. Keeping this going, follow your breath, so try not to rush it. Moving from one side to the other. And there's no rush, but the next time that you've looked over your left shoulder, so you've done an equal number on each side, come back to the front on the inhale and then drop your chin on the exhale. Tuck your chin into the chest. On the inhale, lift the head, lift the nose up to the sky, keeping the neck nice and long. Exhale, slowly nod the head forwards, bringing the chin towards the chest. So you feel a little tightening of the throat muscles. And then on the inhale, you're opening them up. So nodding the head slowly back and forwards, keeping an upright spine. You can take the head back a tiny bit or start dropping it back a lot if that feels okay. Always doing what's right for you. And then again, bringing that to stillness. Good. And we're going to take breath of joy to limber up the arms and the shoulders. You can change the way you're sitting, the cross of your legs. Make sure that you're comfortable. I really want you to think about the opening and closing of the throat in these movements today. So we start with our hands in front of the heart, and on an inhale, lengthen up through the spine. As we exhale, link the fingers together, push the palms away, and round the back, drop the chin towards the chest. Inhale, lift the nose up to the sky as you lift the palms up above the head. Exhale, separate the hands, big circle with the arms, and link the fingers together behind the hips. Inhale, reach back through the knuckles, squeezing the shoulder blades. Lift the nose, open the throat as you look up. Exhale, separate the hands, bring the arms round in a big circle, palms together, rounding the back, tucking in the chin. Inhale, come back to the center. This time, try and link the fingers the opposite way. So inhale here at the center, exhale, linking the fingers, pushing the palms away, round the back, drop the chin towards the chest. Inhale, lifting the palms up to the sky, lifting the gaze, opening and lengthening the throat. Exhale, nice big circle. Bring the hands together behind the hips. Again, that strange interlace of the fingers, the one that feels awkward. Stretch back through the knuckles. Inhale, lifting the nose, lifting the chin. Exhale, let the hands separate, come around the sides, palms together in front of you as you round the back and drop the chin towards the chest. Inhale, bring the palms back in front of the heart in Anjali Mudra and breathe out there. Lovely. Again, adjust the way you're sitting if you prefer. And interlace the fingers, taking the palms behind the head, behind the skull, and letting the skull be cradled by the palms. So the thumbs and the forefingers are right at the base of the skull. Inhale here. As you exhale, allow the head to drop, the elbows to come forward. Try and keep the back upright rather than rounding it this time. So the chin is coming down towards the chest, and you might feel a stretch down the back of the neck, across the back of the shoulders here. We're not pulling the head down, but a little bit of extra weight and gravity encourages it down towards the floor, and we get that lovely opening in the back of the neck. Inhale, lifting the head up. Exhale, take the head back. Let it drop into the hands, lifting the nose, taking the elbows out to the sides. And again, this could be a little movement, or you could be dropping the head back, looking up at the ceiling. Take an inhale there. On the exhale, side bend to your right. So take the right elbow down towards the ground as the left elbow lifts up towards the ceiling. Breathing here, breathe into the left side of the ribs. And then keep the left hand behind your skull to cradle it and bring the right hand down onto the floor. Inhale, lift that left elbow up to the sky, turn to look up at the sky, supporting your head. So we've got a little side bend, a little twist, a little back bend here. You can bend that right elbow and take the left elbow up a little higher, back a little further. Inhale, coming up more to the center. Exhale, releasing the hands and having a little circle of the shoulders, a little shake out, get that blood flowing back down into the hand again. And we'll take that the other side. So again, if you want to, adjusting the way that you've been sitting. And interlace the fingers naturally, and then change it. So we've got that odd interlace, the one we don't usually do. And bring the palms behind the back of the skull. Inhaling here. Exhale, dropping the head, dropping the chin in towards the chest whilst keeping the spine reasonably upright. Let the elbows drop forward. And this gentle stretching out of the back of the neck, the back of the shoulders will happen. Go with this. Nice, deep, slow breaths. Use the Ujjayi if you want to. And then inhale, lifting the head up, taking the elbows wider, lifting the skull away from the shoulders a little bit. Drop the head back into the palms. So nice open heart, wide collarbones. Inhale here. Exhale, take a side bend to your left. Left elbow pointing down at the floor. Right elbow pointing up at the sky. And then we're going to take a little turn. So keeping the right hand behind the base of the skull. Bring the left hand down onto your mat. Inhale, turn the heart. Turn the gaze up to the ceiling, that right elbow reaching back and up. And you can bend this left elbow to come a little deeper into the side bend, breathing nice and deep and slow, thinking about the right side of the ribs. Inhale, coming up to center. And exhale, releasing the hand. Lovely. So moving now to hands and knees, come to tabletop pose. And if it's okay for you, if you're happy to kneel back and sit on your heels, great. We're going to be rising up to high kneeling and then coming back to all fours. So you might want to pad up the knees. If that is not right for you, then stay in a seated posture, either on a chair with the legs forward or in cross-legged or on a bolster, something that's comfortable for you, and you will do the hand movements and upper body movements without having to worry about the kneeling. So for those of you in kneeling, we'll start in Vajrasana. Okay, this is Thunderbolt pose. And on an inhale, everybody is going to lift their arms. If you're in kneeling, coming up to high kneeling, looking up at the sky, if that's okay for you. And a couple of ha, ha sounds. Let's get that belly working, drawn in. On the exhale, take your hands down behind your hips, point the elbows back, and lean back. So we get a little quad stretch here. Up to you whether you lift the head up, you keep the chin tucked, or you let the head drop back. Choice is yours. We're activating the throat chakra. Inhale, we're rising back up. We're lifting the arms to the sky. And on the exhale, we're going to make a hum sound. Hum. Coming down to the floor. Inhale, lift the head, lift the heart. Dip the back for cow pose. Exhale, round the back, drop the head, tuck in the chin, and take the hips back to child pose, or you're bowing down if you're on a chair or seated. Walking the hands back towards you, bring the hands to the heart, and we once again start in Vajrasana. So let's follow that through. Inhale, lifting up. Fire up that belly. Exhale, bringing the hands down to the hips and leaning back. Letting the head drop back here if you want to, so staying for a breath. On the next inhale, going to rise up straight again, lifting the arms and hum this bija sound associated with the throat chakra. Hum. Inhale, lift the head, lift the heart. Exhale, round the back, drop back to child or bow down. Inhale, walking yourself back up to Vajrasana. One more time, making your hum whatever tone, whatever resonance seems right for you. Inhale, rising up. Exhale, hands back to the hips, leaning back, staying for a breath, elongating the spine. You're either tucking the chin, maybe dropping it back. Inhale, everybody coming back up, lifting the arms. Hum. Inhale, lift the head, lift the heart, cow pose. Exhale, rounding the back, sinking back to child. Staying here in wide child, so taking the knees wide if that's okay for you, bowing down. Maybe the head comes to the floor or onto the back of the hands, or you might like to bring your hands behind your neck in Anjali Mudra, prayer pose, and see if you can breathe into the back of the neck. Send the breath there. Good. Reaching your hands forward, slither onto your belly, and you can work in Cobra, so with the elbows bent back, hands underneath the shoulders, or in Sphinx with the forearms on the floor, stretching the toes back behind you. I want you to see if you can get even those little toes onto the floor behind, so that'll be a bit of internal rotation of these thighs and will help keep the lower back nice and relaxed. So we're going to inhale, lift the heart forward. Exhale, look over your right shoulder. You might see your right toes, you might not. Inhale, forward. Exhale, look over your left shoulder. So a little bit of work in the neck here. Inhaling forward. Exhaling, turning to look over a shoulder. And then the opposite one again. Trying not to rush these movements. When you next come back to looking straight ahead, looking forward, release the head down to the floor in crocodile pose. Hands make a pillow, rest your forehead down on the back of the hands, or use a block to bring the forehead down onto. Little rock of the hips to release the work. And then hands under the shoulders, press the palms into the floor and push yourself back into all fours. From here, you can either walk the hands forward for puppy dog or come to a wall or the back of a chair to stretch the back out. Or we can take downward facing dog. So hands a little in front of the shoulders, tuck the toes under, lift the hips. Whichever of those options you've taken, the idea here is to lengthen the back and lengthen the spine. So let the head grow away from the shoulders. If you're in down dog or puppy dog, maybe you can let the head shake loose a little. Slight nod, slight shake, if that's okay for you. And then moving in your downward facing dog, whichever version you've taken, bending one knee and then the other to pedal the feet, maybe coming in and out of kneeling, or bending the knees deeply, lifting the hips to the sky, pushing away from the chair or the wall or the floor to get that lovely length, and then coming into your full expression of your down dog. Nice. Okay, we're going to practice stepping forward again. We did this a little bit last week. So with a bend in the knees, from downward facing dog or kneeling, you're going to bring the left foot forward. So looking between the hands, the left foot is coming forwards, and we're stepping into this runner's lunge. From here, drop the back knee down. And we're going to lift up. You can keep the back toes tucked or flat on the floor, whichever is better for you. Hands come onto the thigh. Inhale, either hands coming to the heart or lifting up into the sky. You can choose now to look straight ahead, to look up, or to drop the head gently back. Again, opening this throat chakra. If you're choosing to keep the head directly up, then engage the chin and draw it down to the chest, because both ways activates this area. So nice deep breaths here. Make sure the tailbone is tucked under. If you want to, you can take it a little more into the back bend, letting the hips come forward. Draw the tummy muscles up and in. Finishing with an inhale. Exhale, the hands are coming down onto the floor, onto the chair, or to the wall. Tuck the back toes, step it back. Downward facing dog. Stretch it out. And then again, practicing this stepping forward into lunge. Maybe you choose to lift the back foot up first. It will be the right foot that's going to come forward this time, lifting up that right hand perhaps as you step it through. And if it doesn't get there, if it doesn't get all the way, then you've got the option to drop the back knee and readjust it. So we're aiming for the knee, front knee over the ankle. And then if you feel a little wobbly, heel toe that front foot out to the side. To rise up, bring the hands to the thigh first if you wish to, and then the hands can come to the heart, or they can lift up to the sky. A few breaths here. So can you stabilize your foundation, pushing down into that front foot, lifting up through the spine, either tucking the chin, thinking about compressing and activating the throat area, looking up to the sky a little, or dropping the head right back, if you're comfortable to do so. Keep that steadiness, that breath. If you want to take it more into a back bend, let the hips float forward a little. Keep that tummy engaged. Tailbone is still long. Big inhale to finish. Exhale, bring the hands down. Tuck the back toes, and this time step forwards into a forward fold. Walking to the front of your mat, let the head go. So bend the knees, arms can dangle like a rag doll. You might like to hold your elbows or even have hands on the thighs if you prefer to keep the head and the heart a little more level. Otherwise, releasing the neck and enjoying gravity taking us into this forward fold. Push down into the floor. Lift the hands to the shins and come a little higher up. Extend the back, so lovely long back, and then bow down again. Lift the hips, bow the head. Inhale, bend the knees, lifting up and out of the forward fold a little bit, and then exhaling down. Good. And then pushing down into the floor, lifting the arms out to the side or rolling up, whichever way you prefer to rise up. Lifting the hands and bringing them back down to the heart space. And standing now in mountain pose, so palms facing forwards, lifting up through the crown of the head whilst rooting down through the feet, establishing yourself in your space. Think of that Ujjayi breath. It can really be useful if we start struggling a little with postures, getting out of breath. Switching on the Ujjayi breath can calm and settle everything, slowing things down. So see when you can use it in your practice. We're going to make our way through sun salutation now. So coming to the top of your mat, talk you through the options for a kneeling, middle part of the sun salutation, and then a plank part of the middle of the sun salutation, and then the option is yours to take with you. So you'll need some space. Come to the top of your mat so that you can step back behind you. Bring your hands to your heart to start with. On an inhale, lift the hands up, looking up if your neck is good. Bowing down as you exhale, touching the floor. Right foot steps back into a lunge. Left foot steps back. You can come into down dog and stay here, or come straight down to kneeling. On the inhale, this round, everyone's going to come down onto their knees. Lift the head, lift the heart for cow pose. Exhale, rounding the back, taking the hips back for child. Inhale, reaching the fingers forward and come into cobra pose, or sphinx if you prefer. Lifting the heart, little back bend, taking the head up if you choose. And then exhale, hips come back again, either staying in kneeling or tucking the toes, continuing backwards to downward facing dog. Now the step forward part. It's the right foot going to step forward. So a little spring in the feet. Really use the left foot to push off as you swing the knee forward and through as best you can, landing the foot between the hands. Lovely. And then step the back foot in as well. Bow down into your forward fold. Push down into the floor to rise up on an inhale. And finish with the hands in front of the heart again on the exhale. Take an inhale, exhale breath here, and then we'll do the other side. Inhale, rising up. Exhale, folding down. Left foot will step back this time. Then the right foot. Come to kneeling if you prefer. So now you can do cow pose or plank. And on the exhale, lowering down, knees, chest, chin, or you're in child pose. And then everybody comes together for cobra. So inhale, lifting the heart and the head, and then push it back, kneeling or downward facing dog. Exhale. Ready for the step forward. This time it will be the left foot, stepping forward as best you can. And then the right foot joins it. You can always take a little fairy step forward here. Press down into the mat, lifting the arms to the sky, looking up at the sun. And the exhale finishes with the hands on the heart. And if you aren't back to the front of your mat, take a step forward there. So those two options, you choose the right one for you as we inhale up, exhale down. Right foot back lunge, left foot back downward facing dog. Inhale either to cow pose or to plank. Exhale down to the ground, child, 8-point onto your belly. Inhale, cobra. Exhale back to down dog or kneeling. Stepping forward with the right foot. You can lift the leg if you want to. Swing it through. And then the other foot joins it, bowing down. Bend the knees a little to rise up. And bring the hands back to the heart space. One more time, the other side. Inhale, lifting up. Exhale, bowing down. Left foot back this time. Right foot back, down dog or kneeling. Inhale, forward, plank or cow pose. Exhale, down to the ground, kneeling or child. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. You can choose to stay in kneeling if you want. And then it's that left foot going to step through. The right foot will join it. And you press down. Root down through the feet to rise up on the inhale. And bring the hands back in front of the heart for the exhale. Come to Tadasana. Close your eyes or soft gaze down at the floor. Noticing sensations in the body. Perhaps your heartbeat, perhaps the breath have sped up. Perhaps there's heat created by those movements. Perhaps there's a sensation of energy whizzing around the body. So letting it settle, observing rather than judging. And then we come to our balance for today. So perhaps finding a wall or a chair to reach out for support. We're going to start by standing on our left foot and taking the right foot up behind us, either pointing towards the heel, or you might be able to catch hold of the side of the foot. The idea is, as best we can, we're going to take that knee down and back, feel a stretch in the quad, whilst keeping the tummy lifted, the tailbone tucked under. So think about your posture, lifting the crown of the head, rooting down through that standing foot, and then you choose. You can slightly bow forward with the support of the chair or the wall if you want to, and stay here. You can stay upright, or today you can kick the foot into the hand, kick that back foot into the hand to bring yourself into more of a back bend, opening up the throat. And you might have the left hand reaching out to the wall or the chair, or you might be able to take chin mudra or open the fingers out to strike a posture in dancer's pose. Inhale, when you're ready, lifting up, upright. Exhale, bringing the foot and the hands down to the sides of the body, taking a breath. So this is about expressing yourself, exploring, finding your truth. So not going to the fullest posture if that's not comfortable or possible for you, but challenging yourself, finding your courage, doing what is your truth in order to express yourself. Let's give it a go on the other side. So be standing on the right foot, adjust yourself if you want that support. Pressing down into the right foot. Get your balance first of all. So work out if you're going to hold on to the left foot or point towards it. Draw the knee back. And maybe play with the tilt here, keeping the hips facing the front, not letting this knee and hip lift up to the side, keeping them in line with the other. And perhaps if you've got hold of this back foot or you take a strap around the foot, you might want to kick back into it, arching the back. Take a point to focus at and perhaps playing with lifting your fingertips away from the support, perhaps taking a mudra, a gesture with the fingers, striking a pose that's right for you. And then rising upright, inhale, exhale down. Come back to the top of your mat and accept what your body offered you. What your expression was today is what was true for you today. Nice deep slow breaths to let it go. And this is when you might benefit from a couple of blocks or a chair, or you can do this up against the wall. I'm going to do pyramid pose, which is the posture where we bow over the front leg. So sometimes a couple of blocks at the front of your mat might help with this. Or you can do this against a wall. So first of all, let's take the right foot back to start with. Big stride back on the right foot, and you're going to turn that back foot out at a bit of an angle to stabilize you. Hands on your hips and check that the elbows are going out to the side, not one front, one back. We want these hips parallel to the front of your mat. And we're going to bow halfway first of all. Really press into that front foot, especially if you know that your tendency is for hyperextension. Keep a tiny micro bend in this front knee. So hinge from the hips. Inhale, lifting up through the spine. Exhale, hinge forward. Pausing there halfway. Let's see if we can get some extra length in the spine. Inhale. As you exhale, let that front knee bend a little bit. Reach forward. Maybe you touch the floor. Maybe you grab some blocks. Perhaps you're reaching out to the back of the chair or the wall. And we're going to work together here. Inhale with a bent knee. So release that front knee. As you exhale, draw the hips back, especially that left hip back, and bow down over your front leg. Inhale, release. So that was a little tester. Exhale, take the hips back, bow down. Think crown of the head lengthening away from the hips. You'll feel perhaps a stretch in the back of that front leg. Let it go. Bend the knee. Last time we're going to hold the pose for one breath. So take the hips back as you breathe out. And stay for the inhale and the exhale. Can you bow your fullest bow, lengthen your spine, and then inhaling, bending that front knee, step the back foot forwards into your forward fold, and roll up, rise up. You can lift the hands and look up if you want to. Coming back to mountain pose, ready to do the other side. This time it'll be big step back on the left foot. Making sure that you're not in a tightrope. You can heel toe that front foot out if you want to. Make sure that you feel stable. The feet are in line with the side of the hips. They're not closer than that. Hands on hips, elbows out to the side, lengthening up through the spine on the inhale. Press into that front foot, the front toes. And exhale. Bow down, lengthen through the spine in this half forward bend to start with. Breathe here. Inhale, lengthening the spine out nice and long, thinking I'm going to keep it like that. And then hinge forward, let the knee bend, grab the blocks, reach for the floor, and we'll start the work. Inhaling here. Exhale, drawing the hips back, bowing down to experiment, testing our edge on this side. Inhale, bending the front knee, releasing from the posture. Exhale, take the hips back, maybe a little further this time. Again, don't let the knee hyperextend the other way, but bowing down over a straight leg as best you can. And then release. Inhale, bent knee. Lift the head, lift the chest a bit. Exhale. Last time, we're going to bow down over that front leg and stay there. Breathing in, breathing out. See if you can extend the spine. Make your final bow. And then inhale, bend the front knee. This time, we're going to come back to the floor. So maybe moving your blocks aside, let the hands come to the floor, step the front foot back, and you can walk your feet out, the legs out in down dog, or come straight to kneeling and child pose. Find yourself a restful position. Let the breath be long and slow, maybe using Ujjayi breath. Coming down to the floor in your own way. preparing for hero's pose. This is another one that you can take on the chair if you would rather. Hero's pose is the one where we sit between our heels. So the hips come right down onto the floor. Not great for everybody's knees. So if you think not for me, you can alter it. You can take a bolster under the hips. You could have one block or two or cushions under the hips if that makes this possible, comfortable for you. Otherwise, sitting on a chair, taking the feet back behind the knees might be an option. So however you're settled, we want to take the hands backwards to open the front of the body. And if you're holding onto the sides of a chair or the back of the chair here, or touching the mat, you might have your fingers tented or flat on the floor. Lean yourself back. Again, you've got the option which way to go now with the neck. So you can either keep the chin really tucked, working it towards the chest, which is going to activate this chakra, or lengthen the spine, lift the heart, slowly take the nose up to the sky, drop the head back. Only if that's comfortable, if you're keeping the neck nice and long. Breathe here. We're staying here for a few breaths. Make sure you're comfortable. If you need to come out early, let the chest lift you out slowly. Okay, so you might be bending your elbows to come back a little more. You might point the knees forward, taking them away from you to feel more of a quad stretch in the front of the thighs. If you're down on the floor, you might take yourself down onto forearms, maybe even laying on the floor if that's comfortable for you, dropping the head back or not. Nice deep breaths, slow breaths. If you've got the head dropped back, tuck the chin. To come out, lift the heart forward and up. And take a moment in an upright position to re-establish yourself in space. Bring the legs gently forward. Let them release. And you have a choice now for an inversion. So letting the breath settle. You are welcome to come to a wall for legs up the wall, sitting close to the wall, one hip to the wall. Swing yourself around using your forearms, taking the heels onto the wall and releasing and relaxing. You could take the calves onto the bed or onto a chair. Or if you want to do half shoulder stand, you could roll into it from sitting, roll back onto your forearms, catch your hips, and half shoulder stand, the legs aren't going all the way straight up in the air, they're coming back at an angle, and the throat and the upper chest should still be quite relaxed. There's quite a lot of the upper back still on the floor. And wherever you are, whichever inversion you've chosen, you can breathe here nice and deep and slow, closing your eyes and coming inwards. Letting gravity do its work on you in a different way to usual. So turning yourself upside down gives you a different perspective of the world, challenges you to literally see things in a different way. Feel things in a different way. And again, you're checking in. Is this posture right for me? Am I challenging myself appropriately? Does it feel good? Am I expressing myself in the correct way for me? And these poses lend themselves to introspection, so coming inwards and feeling calmer, feeling happier in our own body. See if that is true for you. Whenever you're ready to come out, bending the knees, drawing them into the chest, and rolling onto your side, or rolling up, sitting up if you're in shoulder stand, taking a moment to establish yourself in space. And then we're going to finish with fish pose, which opens up the front of the body again. Sometimes this posture is nice with a block underneath the chest to open the heart. Otherwise, you can do it on your forearms. So see which one is right for you. So we can take the back onto the floor. If a block is underneath it, it needs to be right up under the heart and the shoulder blades, easing yourself down onto it, letting the head slowly drop back. So it might touch the floor, you might need to put a cushion or a pillow under it. That doesn't feel right for you, then you can bring the knees together and stay in constructive rest on the floor. Or you can take fish pose with the forearms on the floor, the thumbs into the back of the hips, and drop the head back. So the feet can stretch out long, or they can be cross-legged to make the little fish's tail. And the idea is to lift the chest and open up the throat. So we're looking for this openness. If you don't like dropping the head back, you can do fish pose with a tucked chin. It's just a different way of activating that chakra. Perhaps using the Ujjayi breath. Again, to come out of it, we're lifting and tucking the chin. And then use the hands to press yourself up. And gather anything around you that you might want for relaxation. Just getting ready for relaxation. Before we lie down, we're going to take a hummingbee breath. Brhamari Pranayama. Brhamari is a little black Indian bee. And we do this breath work by breathing in through the nose and then humming out, buzzing the lips. And if you like, you can close off the ears by pressing on this cartilage at the bottom of the ear. A little press in with the index finger is quite effective for closing off all external sound, really coming into your own head and creating this hum, resonating around your skull. We're going to do this for 6, 7, maybe 8 breaths, so about 90 seconds to 2 minutes, and just notice how the breath feels on your hum and experiment with different tones of the bee breath. I'm going to breathe and hum along with you, but don't worry if you finish earlier or a little later than me, that's just fine. So closing the eyes, sitting comfortably, drawing the spine up. Inhale in. Finishing the hum that you're on, sitting in silence a moment, noticing any remnants of the vibration, of the sound, how that made you feel, whether you found it soothing or challenging, accepting it as a practice, and then making your way into your relaxation position. So if you want to lay out in Shavasana with the legs outstretched, letting the feet drop away to either side, or you can keep the knees upright, feet on the floor, let the knees rest together. Have a wriggle of shoulders and hips lying back on the floor so that you get into your optimal relaxation pose. Closing your eyes, finding space for your hands, whether that's turning the palms up to the sky, the back of the hands resting on the mat, or resting the hands gently on your belly. Allowing the jaw to release, the skin on the face to be soft. Let the shoulders drop away from the ears. The hips are wide, spreading down into the mat. The limbs are heavy. Feel you are supported by the floor. Bring your attention to the breath. Seeing for a moment if you can find that Ujjayi breath, where you're imagining you could breathe in through the front of the throat for the aspirated sound. Feeling the cool breath hitting the back of the throat, stimulating Vishuddha Chakra. Like waves on a beach, the sound you hear when you hold a seashell to your ear, soothing and calming. And I want you to visualize, if you can, a blue light in the pit of the throat. So around this energy center, a gently, slowly swirling blue light. This might be the crystal clear blue sky that you see in the summertime. It might be the beautiful turquoise blue of a Caribbean sea. Whichever bright blue comes to you in your mind's eye, picture it swirling gently at this energy center. Every breath that you take in energizes this light. Every breath that you breathe out starts to release any tension in the body and expands the blue light. Releasing the effort of Ujjayi breathing, let the breath be natural, flowing in and out, while this beautiful blue light gradually expands, encompassing your whole body in this nourishing, soothing blue light. Imagine the light is clearing your system, clearing away blockages and doubts, filling you with a new sense of courage, of belief in yourself, knowing that you are able to communicate in a clear, certain way, to speak your truth, to find your voice. And as this energy swirls around you, gradually imagine the light starting to recede, getting smaller again, coming back towards the throat, getting smaller, boiling this energy down into this small blue light swirling around in this throat area once more, knowing that it has taken away any difficulties that you have in communicating, leaving you clear and pure. Let the image of the blue light fade now as you bring in little movement with fingers and toes, gently moving the head from side to side. You can have a stretch or perhaps hug one knee over the chest, then the other, bringing yourself upright to a seated posture, a comfortable sitting position for you. And bringing your hands to your heart, take a lovely deep breath in. On the exhale, take a bow to yourself, to this practice and to this energy center, the Vishuddha, the throat chakra. May you always seek the truth, find the truth, and speak your truth. Namaste.